Okay, thank you. Can you go please to the third slide, please, first, to background and purpose of the call. I would start with that slide, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the technical inconvenience, but we tried it before, but somehow now it did not work. But now I think you can see the presentation. So Germany and Japan are innovation leaders actively transforming their energy systems to combat climate change and promote industrial growth. Both countries have updated national strategies to accelerate hydrogen technology development, such as the Germany's National Hydrogen Strategy and the Japan's revised Hydrogen Society Promotion Act. So there is a shared goal to develop, use, and integrate hydrogen technologies for building a sustainable, decarbonized society. And to encourage the collaborative research that expands understanding of hydrogen's role in energy system and society and unlocks new solutions through close cooperation between academia and industry, we tried to set up this call on hydrogen research right now. And the aim is to foster realistic, scalable pathways towards a sustainable hydrogen society through combined strengths of both countries. Please go to the time scale. Thank you so much, the timeline. I just want to summarize the timeline of application and evaluation. So right now you are in the submission phase of the proposals. The calls have been published on 22nd of September, and you have time to complete your proposals within those 4 months. Deadline is on 7th January in 2026. It will take around 3 months to evaluate the proposals by experts. And as far as we plan it right now, we will have ended this expert evaluation of the proposals by April. And then we'll have a parallel evaluation in both countries. And then we have a joint meeting, a Japan-Germany proposal selection meeting to discuss the ranking of the proposals and to make the final decisions which proposals can be funded. After that process, the application processes from Germany and Japan will start. So there are the national applications procedures that will take around with the approval of the proposals around 5 months after the selection meeting has done their decision. And we hope then finally that we can start the bilateral projects by October 2026. And our aim is, of course, to start it in time that both sides, German and the Japanese sides, will start at the same time. Sometimes it is a little bit difficult if the processes vary in both countries, but we hope that we can manage that the projects really start together. So next slide, please. I would just talk about the scope of the call. So the call targets technical, environmental, economic, and social analysis for a sustainable hydrogen society. So it's not a pure research call here. So it is more a broader spectrum for the development of hydrogen society. And the projects must involve bilateral collaborations and address the following topics: the integration of hydrogen technologies into smart energy systems, the use of hydrogen in hard-to-abate sectors that cannot easily be electrified, the techno-economic analysis of hydrogen technologies and analysis of social acceptability of hydrogen technology use, scenarios for effective development of the transition to a hydrogen society, and also life cycle assessments of technologies for smart energy systems, including hydrogen production, synthesis, storage, and utilization toward sustainability. So, next slide, please. Who can be funded? So for the German side, universities, non-university research institutions, as well as company with a presence in Germany can be funded. For companies, it will be particularly, but not exclusively, small and medium-sized enterprises. For the Japanese side, independent researchers affiliated with domestic research institutions like universities, public research bodies, or private enterprises can be funded. Both sides must meet the national eligibility requirements, and for details, you please see the German and also the Japanese call text. Next slide, please. What are the special prerequisites for funding? Of course, it is a bilateral call. Joint applications are required. You need partners from both Germany and Japan, and you must form a consortia. Participation of both academia and industry is highly encouraged on both sides, and you need to agree on a written collaboration agreement between your partners, and that agreement must be in place during the beginning of the funding phase. There's a little bit time difference for the Japanese and the German conditions, but I'm sure that we can manage that, that the collaboration agreements then meet all the timely conditions from both sides. So the applicants must document the potential for sustainable cooperation and agree to participate in evaluations and provide required information. Each partner's eligibility will be checked according to their country's specific rules and guidelines, which you will also find on the national call texts. So at least 4 eligible institutions must be involved in each project. So at least 1 commercial enterprise and 1 scientific institution. And just to summarize again, the written collaboration agreement is one necessary condition for funding. Next slide, please. I can only see the slide I just presented, but yeah, thank you. So what is the amount of funding and the scope? It's a non-repayable grant covering, of course, personnel, staff, equipment, project-related equipment, project-related non-cash resources, then funding for travels and stays by German and Japanese researchers and experts, but also travel to international events. We will fund costs for workshops between the German and Japanese partners. We can fund patents and also costs for scientific communication. Scientific communication is one aspect which is a wish from our side that these projects also communicate with the public about their scientific results in a certain way via website or workshops or presentations, and the cost for that scientific communication will be covered. So from the German side, the fund is up to 600,000 euros per project over 36 months. Commercial companies can be funded up to 50%. And for the Japanese side, up to 46.8 million yen, including overheads, also over a period of 36 months, companies expected to cover at least 50% via own funding, so kind of the same conditions as in Germany. And also the details of the financing rules of the eligible costs, because they differ a little bit from German and Japanese side, you will find in the national guidelines. So next slide, please. The application form, I hope you have could find the application form. It ensures that all the proposals have the same information in same detail, and the required content is the basic information about, of course, your project title, your partners, and also a summary. For the German side, a German summary is necessary. Then it includes a project description, the originality and excellence of the proposal, the objectives, the comprehensive description of the work plan. And maybe for the work plan, it is recommended that you share what the German side and what the Japanese side is doing in a clear way, so that the experts and evaluators can see very easily where you what kind of work is done by which party. You need to explain the expected impact and sustainability of research results. You have to include, of course, a research budget plan for the Japanese and the German side separately, and also a funding justification why you cannot do this research project without without your own budget. You have to explain the overall project organization, so how the partners work together. And you can also add annexes like CVs or publications that you think is useful. But please do not overload those annexes. For the proposal, there's a maximum of 12 pages foreseen, not including the annexes, but please do not send really many pages as annexes, so that it's can be handled by the evaluators. A letter of intent is required of all involved partners. And I think that is all what we need as information from you. The next slide, please. Just talk a little bit about the evaluation process after you have submitted your proposals. So these proposals will be peer reviewed by expert panels in both countries. And the evaluation criteria are the relevance to the court's purpose, of course, and the respected results, the originality and the research excellence, and the well-defined research objectives, work plans, is a budget, the budget and the sustainability of results. Additional criteria could be the suitability of project organization and management, then also the experience and ability of the research team, as well as the added value of international cooperation, and the potential scientific, economic, and societal impact. The evaluation process is a kind of two-step procedure. So in the first evaluation process and submission process, the proposals will be evaluated, and then in that joint gremium and joint committee, discussed and decided who will get the fund for those projects. And if you have been selected in that committee, then you will receive also again an invitation to submit a detailed full proposal with more extensive supporting documentation. And then these proposals will be approved again, and then the application process will start in both countries. Next slide, please. The contacts from the DLR Project Management Agency are written here, also for JST. So if you have any scientific or administrative questions, you can contact those addresses and those persons, and you will also find those contact details, of course, in the national guidelines. And that is the short summary of the joint call. And we can now try to answer your questions in the question and answers chat. JST, do you want to add any information that I missed?
Thank you, Sabine. That's great. I think we can move on to the Q&A. Thank you.
Die Frage, die jetzt hier auf Deutsch gestellt wurde, liegt der Scope ausschließlich auf theoretischen, numerischen Studien zu übergeordneten Themen oder können auch Komponentenentwicklungen gefördert werden? Also der Scope liegt tatsächlich eher über diesen übergeordneten Themen. Reine Komponentenentwicklungen sind hier nicht vorgesehen in diesem Call. I just try to answer here some questions for the German side. The funding for companies in Germany is maximum 50% also for small and medium-sized enterprises. It depends a little bit. It really depends on the size of the small and medium-sized enterprises. Usually it is maximum of 50%, but there are cases where this funding can be higher. And there was also a question, I think, on the TLR, because it's a little bit, it's not so easy to really define a TLR here in that call. So we require a TLR, if it's possible, between 3 and 4. So the next question is so there definitely must be a company involved on both sides. Yes, there must be a company involved. So and the rule of funding 50%, that is only for the company, not for a research institution or university. And that's also the same question. Did I understand the right way that there have to be 2 German entities and 2 entities from Japan? Yes, you need 4 partners. And as I said, yes, it is a 2-step application process. So first a shorter proposal, and you have to use the application form. And after the evaluation and the decision has been made what projects can be funded, you need to apply again with a full proposal that required by the national guidelines. And so for Germany, you have to submit a AZR proposal then. Then I take also these questions on more partners. I understand that 1 company and 1 university from Germany and Japan are required to participate. Can participation by 1 company and multiple universities be approved? Yes, of course. You can have more partners, but be aware that the budget stays the same. So the more partners you have, the less budget you have to divide beyond your partners. Ich antworte jetzt noch einmal auf Deutsch, nochmal auf die Frage mit der Komponentenentwicklung. Sie fragen, ob Sie diese Komponentenentwicklung in ein übergeordnetes Thema integrieren können. Ich denke, dass diese Konstellation durchaus möglich ist. Ja, Sie schreiben ja dadurch analysieren, technoökonomisch-ökologischen Impact auf das zukünftige Finanzieren, wäre diese Konstellation möglich? Ja, ich denke, damit können Sie sich gut bewerben. And there's also a little bit insecurity here about the requirement of a company, because I stated in my presentation that it's highly encouraged. So it is not a hard requirement, but we strongly encourage that. And of course, proposals who or which include companies as a partners will have much bigger chances for funding than proposals which do not include companies here. So it is a little bit misleading. Yes, I'm sorry, but it is we really strongly recommend the inclusion of companies. And there's also a question about bigger companies, not small and medium-sized companies. Of course, you can also include bigger companies. They will not receive a high fund, of course. As I stated, especially we would like to fund small and medium-sized companies, but bigger companies, of course, you can also have as a partner. But please bear in mind that the funding for those companies will be much less than 50%. And maybe JST, can you say something about the partnering tool or the partnering you have set up? Because there are some questions here how to find a partner, and if there is, we don't have on a German side no possibility to match or have a partnering event.
Send the researchers information for those who want the sharing. When we made it the list and it already shared before this webinar. But
okay. And another question on the two-step process on the German side, because on the Japanese side it is only a one-step process. There's no further selection between those two steps, but you need to fill out an application form and submit more comprehensive proposal, but there will be no evaluation again. So if you get selected after the joint committee meeting in April from Japanese and German side, and you will be a selected project, then you will be selected. But you need to apply again for the German funding system. And maybe I refer to a more technical question here for the content of the proposal. Is it possible to support initiatives to harmonize standards and measurement methodologies? And I think that is exactly also what's in the scope of the call. And because there were so many questions, if you have to address all bullet points in the scope of the call, no, obviously not. But you must address at least one, I think, one or two of those points. Then there was a question, and to be honest, I don't know what you mean with, is there a Begehung or something similar? No. I think I answered the questions. Industrial partners, well, they are not mandatory, but strongly encouraged. The technical-economical analysis is mandatory, so you have to address one of those points. And is it mandatory? And I refer to that question now because I think we have spoken about the other ones. Is it mandatory to deliver in the end of the project something like prototypes? And that is not mandatory because also the TLR is not high. So it is not mandatory to deliver prototypes at the end. And there's also a question about the annexes of the proposal. Yes, the annexes, they contain the CV or the CV of the, let's see, the PIs, not all CVs of all partners. And the letter of intent, of course. You can also add publication list if you wish, but only key publications. And the German, for the German side, the German summary should, you can put in the annex, but you can also put it in the proposal if you have not reached your maximum pages, but you can also put it in the annex. There is a question, maybe that is interesting for you. Is there a specific maximum share of the fund for personnel? Can the personal budget not exceed a certain share? We have no limitations for that, whether neither on the German side nor on the Japanese side. So you can freely decide on the budget of the personnel. Maybe that question, if the German consortium address a different scope of the call than the Japanese consortium, or should both consortia address the same scope of the call? Of course, they need to address the same scope of the call. It is one project proposal and the scope should be the same, but you can, of course, have different work packages. So I think we have tried to answer most of your questions, but some are very specific. So we would like to ask you to send an email to these contact addresses here, either to GST or to DLR. And I'm sorry that we could not answer all questions here. I thank you so much for joining us, and we are looking forward to your proposals, and have a nice day. So we will close this webinar now. Bye.